Well, like we've said, the United States of America has gone through a total geopolitical shift, and the continent of Africa must pay attention on what's going on in Washington, because the deporter-in-chief is in town. You will be deported and expelled out of the United States of America. Donald Trump has been given the mandate. Don't miss my words. You can hear that from the United States of American officials. Donald Trump will come to power. There will be incredible number of executive orders, and you will be kicked out from the United States.
Do you see all undocumented immigrants as should they all be kicked out of the country?
Well, some conservative estimates say that there are at least 15 million illegals who have come into the country on Joe Biden's watch. It's my hope that we deport every single one of them that we can. And it starts with this, the mass deportation plan needs to be an immediate focus of the House and the Senate. I believe when the dust settles, we're going to have a even bigger majority in the House, still a slim majority, but a bigger majority by a couple of seats in the House. And we'll have the ability to work together in both chambers to fund the mass deportation effort and give the president the backup that he needs to make it happen.
Welcome back to our channel. We want to thank you for watching. You've heard the message. It's clear. Elections have consequences. And it's so simple. For those of you who feel that the current geopolitical shift in North America will not affect your continent, you are mistaken. If you are from the continent of Africa, listen carefully. Don't say we never informed you. As a geopolitical channel that we focus on how Africa interacts and deals with the geopolitical partners, we talk about this very important strategic geopolitical shift around the world. Let me be clear. The message is clear. If you are from the continent of Africa, you are from Latin America or from Asia, and you are living in the United States as an illegal, brace yourself in January. You will be deported from the United States of America. It is clear that when Russia invaded Ukraine, or the Russian-Ukrainian war happened, a number of the people in the continent of Africa were saying this war was just in Europe. Not at all. It will trickle down. We saw what grain prices were, and we saw how the continent of Africa was affected based on increases in the market. Now, what's happening in the United States of America to send strong signal in the continent? If you are an African living in the United States of America and you have issues with your documentations, if you are an illegal living there, whether you are European, there are a number of Europeans who are illegal living in the United States. Doesn't mean if you are European living in the US, means you have a document. You will be deported back to your country. That's so simple. In the recent geopolitical landscape and the shift with regards to the US Senate and the US Congress, things are unfolding fast. The young rookie senators or congressmen that will come to power will give the new deporter-in-chief, Donald Trump, the powers to eject any African or any illegal immigrant in the United States. There are over 15 million illegal immigrants living in the US. So I wonder how this is going to play. To kick this episode, let's roll this clip.
By CNN's count, Republicans have now flipped 3 Senate seats, with the potential of picking up another, setting themselves up to have at least 52 seats in the U.S. Senate. I'm joined now by one new member of that majority, Senator-elect Jim Banks of Indiana, who currently serves in the House. Congratulations, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
One of the top issues in your campaign was immigration and the border. What is the first thing that you want the president-elect to do?
Well, I have no doubt. Donald Trump is going to be inaugurated on January 20th. He's going to hop in a car, drive down Pennsylvania Avenue, swing the door open of the Oval Office, and he's going to immediately sign executive orders to go back to the effective Trump policies like remain in Mexico, allow us again to build the wall at the southern border, and then end catch and release. And that's the perfect Trump formula to begin the process to secure the border. What's different about this time from last time is he's going to have backup in the Congress to support him to do it. And we will give him the funding that it takes to fully build the wall, to support our Border Patrol agents, to do their important work. But it's going to start with those executive orders on day one. Joe Biden overturned all of those Trump policies on his first day in office, and Donald Trump's going to immediately reverse that and go back to what we know will work.
The goal here is that don't sit in the US and relax, because January 2025 will come with heated debate. The landscape will change completely. And for those of you who feel that you are in the process of your immigration issues, there are thousands, if not millions, of people living now or hanging around the borders around Mexico. Get yourself ready. It's going to be tough. It will be difficult for you to get in the United States. But the big question here is, how will Donald Trump deport over 15 million illegal immigrants?
You told the Indy Star yesterday, quote, "We're going to begin the process of deporting the over 15 million illegals that have come into this country under Joe Biden's watch." First of all, just to better understand what the actual policy and how it's going to be executed will be, do you see all undocumented immigrants as should they all be kicked out of the country?
Well, some conservative estimates say that there are at least 15 million illegals who have come into the country on Joe Biden's watch. It's my hope that we deport every single one of them that we can. And it starts with deporting violent criminals who are in the United States, who came here illegally, who have committed violent crimes. And I think once you do that, President Trump is committed to making that his first and top priority when it comes to mass deportation. And then also on top of that, increase the penalties on businesses who hire illegals in our country and take away the incentive for them to be here and for them to come here. And I think many of them will leave on their own. But the mass deportation plan needs to be an immediate focus of the House and the Senate. I believe when the dust settles, we're going to have a even bigger majority in the House, still a slim majority, but a bigger majority by a couple of seats in the House. And we'll have the ability to work together in both chambers to fund the mass deportation effort and give the president the backup that he needs to make it happen.
Because again, despite the illegal migrants being talked about, like bringing crime, committing a number of issues there, it's okay. Every country must make sure that they protect their borders. I will do that too. However, the United States of America is a country of immigrants. You see, now other immigrants are trying to deport other immigrants. So that's the way it works nowadays, right? So, but let me go down to this very important thing. These illegal immigrants are making significant contribution. If you look at the United States of America Bureau of Statistics, labor statistics, the U.S. is crying that we don't have enough workers. We don't have workers in different sectors, especially in the farming sector. Now, most Americans will not go to those farms, potato farms and apple farms, to pick those fruits for those farmers and earn $3 or $5 an hour. Most of these immigrants coming from Mexico, from the continent of Africa, from Latin America, are making significant contribution. But the deporter in chief, of course, it's okay for you to kind of rid your countries of illegal immigrants and those who are committing crimes. But the farmers are, to an extent, hypocritical individuals who, on one hand, they vote to get these people out, and on the other hand, they cry for labor. That's how the system works. The congressman was pushed by the CNN journalist to ask him actually what is going to happen to those farmers and the pushback that the United States of America will experience in terms of labor shortage if the deporter-in-chief, Donald Trump, proceed with his ambitious deportation in January. Let's listen to what the congressman have to say here.
So just to be clear, I know you say that it would be the people who are criminals first, but then ultimately every undocumented immigrant in this country, even those who perhaps are deemed by their neighbors as contributing to society, or perhaps those who are married to American citizens or legal immigrants. That's it. children, adults, older people, they all should be gone?
The American people spoke loud and clear on Tuesday. They gave this president and Republicans a mandate to do everything that we can. The goal should be to deport every illegal in this country that we can find. And as I said a moment ago, if you take away the incentive for them to come here in the first place by turning up the pressure on those who employ illegals, then you've taken away the incentive. They're going to go back to where they came from. So you start with the violent criminals. That Americans are counting on President Trump and Republicans to send them back to reduce violent crime in this country. But I think the goal has to be, and the American people expect it to be, to deport those who came here illegally.
And how does that work? I mean, that's a huge undertaking. How does that even actually work realistically?
No doubt about it. President Trump said yesterday that it could be costly, but the American people deserve it to do everything that we can to return sanity back to this country.
The money is one thing, but I'm talking about, like, how does it work?
You see, geopolitical events have consequences around the world, and the election of Donald Trump will have huge impact in the continent of Africa from a number of strategic issues: businesses, economic development, infrastructure, research, collaboration, counterterrorism, a number of very important things. And Africa cannot just relent. The issue about deportation and immigration problem in the United States of America, Donald Trump is not going to solve that. If you are an African thinking that you migrate to the US to get into the borders, if you want to do that before January of 2025, you can go ahead and do that. However, be aware that you will be deported back from the United States. But the infrastructure and the investment required to deport over 15 million people, that's what keeps me thinking on how this man is going to go ahead to do this. It's also important for you to understand why. Is it worth it to cough out your local currency, to travel to the borders in Mexico and attempt to enter the United States? We've seen a number of documentaries and the impact that this journey has to a number of people from developing countries or from emerging economies. Donald Trump has sent a clear signal, and the message is clear. It can be complicated. These are Donald Trump's mouthpiece. They are making it clear that you will be deported from the United States. This is not a joke. These are clear indications. These are government officials who have the power, who have the mandate to expel anyone in the United States of America. So I'm wondering if what I'm saying here, if I'm throwing water on Deck's back.
If you just pick Indiana, for example, how do you want the federal government to go about finding people and physically getting them out of the country?
I don't think this is that complicated. I spoke with a local sheriff in Indiana earlier today who's ready. Local law enforcement is ready to go to do what it takes to help with the mass deportation effort. But if you take away those incentives from business and put pressure on businesses who hire illegals in this country, then many of these, maybe most of those who are here illegally, are going to go back on their own. And that's what Donald Trump and Republicans in the House and the Senate are focused on. I think it begins with deporting violent criminals. It's not that hard to find them, and if you take away the incentive, many of them will go back to where they came from.
Well, on the incentive, I do want to ask you about that, because you know that you will get some pushback by people in your own party who are sort of business-minded Republicans who will say, we need these people. They are workers that really fuel our businesses. And then aside from business, just even taking agriculture as an example, I want to read a quote from Michael Marsh, President and CEO of the National Council of Agriculture Employees. He says, from an employer standpoint, you're very concerned when you hear somebody talk about deporting a significant amount of the existing workforce. What do you say to him and others who really do rely, even hospitality, who rely on these undocumented migrants?
A mandate is a mandate, and the president winning the popular vote on Tuesday is a strong signal that this is what the American people, the public, expects us to do. And only Republicans who completely misread the moment, who don't understand what the mandate means, and I don't think there are very many of them left in Congress. It's a much different Congress makeup today than what it was in 2016 when President Trump was first elected. You don't have Republicans in the House and the Senate who will fight back against President Trump to do what the American people want him to do, to deport illegals and to secure the border. The American people are counting on us to do it, and that will be our focus.
African nations who are going to engage or collaborate with the United States of America in terms of the immigration issues should approach this cautiously, because there are a number of individuals from the continent of Africa that have been deported in some countries where they were not coming from those nations. We see that happen in a whole lot of other geopolitical circles. And for those individuals living in the United States who have irregular immigrations, who have documented problems, who come from countries where there were conflict originally, or who are in the procedures, you should really review your situation. You want to contact a lawyer. You want to go ahead and ask, what are the procedures? What's going to happen? What is ahead? Because you will be sent out from the United States. How would that happen? I don't know. The congressman has explained it, that come January, Donald Trump, the deporter-in-chief, will come to power and then go ahead and sign executive orders to expel you from the United States of America. It is clear. Elections have consequences. We want to thank you for watching. Hopefully, we've informed you with regards to the trends and what's happening in North America. And Africa should not take its eye off the ball, that there is a new sheriff in town. You will be expelled. You will be deported. If you have committed crime in the United States, if you have irregular immigration documentation problems, your status is not yet arranged, if your particular condition is not aligned to the United States immigration procedure, if you've been living in the country illegally, if you've had your green card problems, there are a whole lot of other issues that will come into play. And if you came across the border illegally, or you've been living in the United States of America and you were known to the system, and you've not made any contribution, Donald Trump will send you back to your country. The message is simple and clear. I hope that for those of you who listen to this video can share it, let your family members understand that the current congressmen and senators coming into the United States of America's administration will help Donald Trump to expel you from the United States of America, because that is why elections have total consequences. We want to thank you for watching. Let us know what you think with regards to how Donald Trump is going to deport 15 million people from the United States of America. We want to thank you for watching. We are looking forward to meeting you soon in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.